But also, I know you broke the story there with the five assassin teams that are targeting President Trump. And my question to you would be that if a 20-year-old kid could get within 150 yards in broad daylight with a clear line of shot at the president, if there was a real assassination team that's trained and trying to go after Trump, wouldn't they have accomplished this mission already?
Well, you don't know that those teams have not encountered some efforts to neutralize them, right? These are the known teams. There could be more than 5. The 5 that we knew about at the time of Butler are those that I have discussed publicly. And since Butler, several may have been neutralized. There may be more that we're aware of. But the operative question here is how, when we knew that there were 5 teams that were targeting Trump of various levels of sophistication, I'm sure, probably not all the most sophisticated in the world, why was our force protection at Butler for Trump drained to provide additional protection for John Bolton and Jill Biden? I don't want anything bad to happen to John Bolton and Jill Biden, but the threat profile against President Trump was so strong, it necessitated better than we provided him for protection. All the while, you had the Trump detail saying we need more assets, we need more assistance, and they were denied. And you have to sort of wonder, Alec, what's the motive for that? And people in Secret Service have said to me that it's that they didn't want Trump to look too authoritative, or like if he's got a lot of, big dudes around him, Secret Service agents, then he looks powerful, and they wanted to diminish him by not protecting him. Now, I don't, that is the view of some folks who've shared it with me, but think of how sick that is if that's true, that they would put our whole country, they would risk throwing this country into indescribable chaos just for comparative optics.
It's ridiculous. And listen, a blind man without a cane could see Trump as a bigger target than Jill Biden, yet the assets weren't allocated. And it took 2 assassination attempts for him to get the full package. And one more word on this Ryan Ralph. This is a guy that had a conviction of weapons of mass destruction. They found more weapons of mass destruction in 2002 at Ryan Roots than they did in Iraq. And he's traveling back and forth to Europe, and we're talking to Taliban members. This guy wasn't under the watchful eye of the intelligence agency. Then he just picks a miraculous spot on the fence line that he knows isn't going to have cameras pointed at him. No dogs sniffing the area, no drones in the air. This guy seemed to have his eye on the ball here and knew where to be. Was this guy helped out by anybody?
We have to follow the money, right? I mean, how was this guy able to have the resources to go to all of these places and to engage in this, I guess, political recruiting for mercenary armies in Ukraine? It's a fantastical story. Now, I want to give credit where it's due. The Customs and Border Patrol agents talked to this guy, and they said this story doesn't really make a lot of sense, and they referred him to Homeland Security Investigations. And when Homeland Security Investigations was presented with a guy who claimed he'd been traveling the world recruiting Ukrainian freedom fighters, and that it was all being paid for by his wife. Now, I mean, I've got a wife who works and is very successful. I'm sure if I had like an intricate hobby, she'd help me support it. But like if my hobby was to travel all to Taiwan and to Afghanistan to recruit people to fight in Ukraine, I think there would be some limits. And they didn't even investigate it. They didn't even pick up the file. They just said, nothing to see here. Imagine if we had thorough, meaningful work, we could have spared ourselves this second assassination attempt. And where are they dropping the ball right now? As you and I are having this discussion, that's what ought to worry us.